Happy Saturday, you guys. Welcome to the stream. It's your girl, the Lab Girl. Welcome to Coffee and Questions with the Lab Girl. But right now it is noon, so definitely not coffee. Right now it is wine. So I don't know how this stream is going to go. It's supposed to be coffee, but I already had my 2 cups, as you guys can probably tell by the hyperness in my voice. So yeah, welcome to the stream, you guys. I'm the Lab Girl. You guys already know who I am. If this is your first time joining me in my stream, thank you so much for taking your time on this beautiful Saturday to be on this live with me. I'm kind of rusty. I don't even remember the last time I actually did a live with you guys. So just bear with me today because my screen sharing may be a little delayed, but I'm so glad that I decided to do this Q&A because I think it was well overdue. And I think this is the first Q&A of this year. So I want to bring the Q&A back this year. I know we did a few Q&A videos last year, and as far as like, if you guys look on my channel, I have several different Q&As dedicated to my channel for the community, just the everyday general questions that histologists, students, that we have, in a place where we can actually come and vent, ask questions, or maybe get clarity, or just have that community so we can be able to just relate to one another. But yeah, so this is the first Q&A, and I think this is, of course, my first live Q&A, as far as like this Q&A is dedicated only to questions that you guys have provided for me, comments. I appreciate that on a daily. You guys are amazing. You guys leave me questions, comments, and whether that's on my Instagram or on my videos. I don't know what I would do without you guys, and the fact that you guys trust my advice or trust my recommendations when it comes to your pay, when it comes to your career, when it comes to your traveling, when it comes to your job, what job you should take. You guys you guys are literally like my internet besties, because you guys trust me to know your personal information and give you guys advice. And that's what I really enjoy, the fact that you guys trust me with that type of information, that type of advice. And you look at me as, someone who actually can give you some good information or advice. So I really appreciate it. That's the reason why I'm here. That's the reason why I take my time and my energy to provide this type of information to you guys, because also, like I said before, this is an outlet for myself as well. So yeah, I told you the wine is already working. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the stream, and let's go ahead and get into some questions. So I didn't have a method to my questions. I'm literally just going through my comment sections because, like I said before, they're sporadic. So I get different comments on different questions. A video could be from last week, or it could be from 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. And those are still current questions. Of course, I answer your guys' questions individually, but sometimes when questions are more in depth, I like to tell you guys, hey, I'm answering your question generally for you, but I think sometimes that these questions can be beneficial for other histology professionals as well. And I do love the fact that you guys answer each other's questions in my comment sections. One, that shows me that you guys are engaged, you guys are willing to help each other out. And it also goes to show that different histotechs have different methods and ways of doing things, and we all need to share that, because one method is not the correct way. Another thing is that it shows YouTube that, hey, my channel is providing some type of benefit or some type of help to you guys, which you guys always express to me either in person or online. And I really, truly appreciate it. So it shows YouTube that, hey, I need to keep this girl in the algorithm so her videos can be shown across the platform, because once again, we are opening doors, creating opportunities, and I am truly the only one in this lane who is currently putting histology on the map as far as a new, fresh way to get histology out there. So, and I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and get into lab talk. And if you guys see, I said make sure you hit the thumbs up button on your way in to the live. Make sure you comment, subscribe, share with other future or fellow histologists, students. Also, to this live will be on the replay, so if you're not able to listen to it today or watch the live, you can definitely catch the live on the replay. So that's a good thing about my lives. All right, so I got a category which I try to do is called Lab Talk. So a few things that are coming up on Lab Talk. So CSH is coming up, which is the California Society of Histotechnology. And just like Florida has FSH, I really don't know what the other states have, but I know there's NSH. So this is my first time knowing about CSH because I live in California, of course. So that is coming up April 29th in San Diego. If you guys are attending that, if you live in this state or if you want to attend, I don't think that you have to, well, not I don't think, it's for anyone who's a histotech. So you can come from anywhere, any state, and attend CSH. That's April 29th in San Diego. And also Lab Week will be April the 24th through the 30th. And it's very funny because whenever I was, getting the live ready for you guys, I was like, dang, Lab Week falls in the same week of CSH. So that's actually a good thing, because not only will you be going to the conference, learning things, learning a lot about histology, maybe some courses you can take or continuing education courses. Lab Week is also that same week. So it's sort of like not two parties in one, but it just gives you, an extra opportunity to congratulate yourselves, be excited about your career, be excited for, the type of atmosphere that you're going to be in, as far as like not just seeing everyone at work, your same lab peers and professionals, but actually getting out and going to the conferences and meeting new individuals, or not even meeting someone, maybe just being around people who are in your field. That's like a good thing. And also to get in education and continuing education and just that personal growth. So you guys know I'm always about personal growth. So that's very, very important as far as being a great histotech. All right. So I think that's it for that. And drop your questions, comments in the chat. I'm thinking about doing a monthly Q&A, so your questions will be featured. So definitely drop your questions and comments in the chat. If I don't get to your questions or comments today, well, which I should get to them today, but just say you're watching on a replay. I'm going to be doing these every month as far as just a dedicated without a topic. So that's what I mean by a monthly Q&A. So that's on the agenda. I'm not trying to keep you guys for too long today. I'm not trying to hold you guys because it's a beautiful day. You guys probably want to get out, but I appreciate you guys spending your time with me. So let's go ahead and get into the stream. Okay, so the first category that I came up with will be microtomy concerns. I have up here, which you guys can see on my channel, is my YouTube studio. It may look unfamiliar if you guys are not into YouTube and you don't have a YouTube page, but this is my YouTube back page. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to find my video and we're going to actually answer some microtomy questions that I've been getting recently. So bear with me one moment. Let me get those questions out. Okay, so these are just a few questions that I got currently on microtomy. So I posted a picture on my community tab, which shows someone was having some issues with ribboning and also maybe compressed sections and things of that nature. So I decided to post what my microtome and probably what other microtomes look like inside of my lab, where the clearance is set between 0 and 5. So the question was, let me just read the question real quick. I have started cutting blocks from 3 weeks ago so far, but I still have many trouble. Do you have any advice for reducing knife crashes in the sections? And Little Bear also says, I always keep my blocks cold, but still have problems when cutting. Should I check my clearance angle for every block? My school recommends to set the angle at 10. Now, I'm not really sure as far as, what your school, well, you told me your school sets the angle at 10, but in my lab, we have the clearance section set between 0 and 10. So it's like at that 5 middle mark. And also I see where Shayla said mine has always been set on 10. I would try 5. Okay, so Little Bear, in this situation, if you're having some issues ribboning, I would definitely tell you to check that angle. And if you're saying this at 10, try to put that at 5 to see if your sections will not be compressed whenever whenever you're trying to ribbon a section. I'm glad that you put, I always keep my blocks cold, but still have problems cutting. So for each block, you do not have to change your clearance angle. That should just stay at that 5 mark. I wouldn't tell you to change that for everyone. The only time you need to change something is when you're probably cutting a block after someone else and maybe your microtome don't line up with the block, maybe because someone cut it on their microtome. So everyone's microtome will not exactly line up at different, or at the same angle. So you only have to change the knob at the top. I don't have the actual terminology right now because it's drawing a blank, but you may have to fine tune that little knob at the top of the microtome. And if you do that, that will actually help to get the block to where it may section like the exact same way that the last microtome sectioned it. But in this case, if this is a fresh block that you just got off in bed and you're the first person who is cutting the block, try to make sure that you have a new blade separate from what you actually faced your block on. And also two, make sure that clearance angle is set at that 5. That will probably definitely help you. That's a good thing that your blocks are cold. I'll always say face your blocks and then maybe go to break or do something else. If you're assigned to multiple tasks that may help you, come back to those blocks and then start to cut. It's just sometimes it takes a little bit longer to cut a block. You just have those days to where your block may need to just soak a little longer. I've had those days. I just had that day yesterday when I was cutting some brain sections. So just face your block. And then once you go to break, come back and try to cut your block. By the time you actually like face all of your blocks, and when you get to that last block, so just say you facing 20 blocks. And by the time you come back to, once you're done with that 20th block, by the time you come back to the first block and get ready to cut, change your knife, and then it should be able to ribbon like no problem. Let's see here. I think I have another one. When someone was telling me that they're having issues with static. So let me find that. Let me find that one here. I can remember the question. Hold on one moment. Okay, well, I can't find the question right now, but they're having some issues with static, and there's a few tricks that you can do. The first trick would be to get a static dryer sheet, and that's what I've done that before, where I've gotten a dryer sheet, and you can place the dryer sheet like right underneath the clamp, like the knife clamp, and then probably take away some of the static there. Or you can put the static dryer sheet in the bottom of the tray. That'll probably help to reduce some static. Also, if you are sitting underneath a vent, then that may be an issue as well. Maybe it's blowing your tissue as you're trying to catch that ribbon. That's possibly a concern as well. So maybe move away from a vent if you can, or probably tell someone that, hey, the vent is blowing your tissue, so you're collecting static, or your ribbon is flying away. Anything when it comes to the element in the lab, someone walking by can prevent, you're not getting a ribbon. It's just gonna be anything that can prevent you from getting a great ribbon. So that's definitely an option, as well as making sure that you are facing your block and you are keeping it cold, and you're actually like, that's another reason why you're not probably getting a good ribbon. Another question here is from Veronica, and she put, how do you know you're facing your block enough? So let's read this question. It says, that was the question. So I put, hi Veronica, it's a trick that you have to do. Once you coarse trim your block, do a few rounds, then hold it up to the light to see if your tissue is exposed through the wax. You'll be able to tell. So you guys know, once you face that block, then you can actually like hold it up to the light, or hold it up to where you can see if the tissue's fully exposed. That's what you'll learn in school as well. And I also referred her back to my microtomy video playlist, because I do have a few videos on my microtomy playlist that'll show you guys how you know that your tissue isn't fully faced. Because once you take a ribbon and you put it on your water bath, you'll see like the outlining or the edges of the tissue, and you'll see that you don't have a full face right then and there. So if you're new to the game and you see that you just can't tell whether or not you're fully faced, then I suggest you take a section, put it on the water bath, and then you can compare the slide to the block, and you'll be like, okay, I see I need to go a little bit deeper. It's best to proceed with caution, so you don't take all the tissue, you don't lose the tissue. So it's always best if you go ahead and trim. And what I've learned just recently, which is like the craziest thing, is whenever I'm trimming, I'll trim at 20, then I'll go down to 10, and then I'll do a facing at like 5 or 4. I don't know why I wasn't doing like that. I think I was rough facing my blocks to where like I was just facing them at like 10 microns or 10 to 20 microns. It just depends on how big the tissue is. And I would literally just face the tissue and then just put it on ice. Well, 6 years later, I see by me doing that, it actually created holes in my section microscopically whenever you look at it through the microscope. So it took me 6 years to be told, like, hey, Shanika, you know where those gaps are, those white gaps in your sections. That's because I'm rough facing my blocks and just putting it on ice and not facing it and then turning it to sectioning and then do like a couple rounds of sectioning at the normal micron, and then I can put it on my ice. So that was something that I just learned probably a few weeks ago. But I would have continuously had holes in my sections, and not holes that you can see on a water bath, but holes you can see microscopically. So once again, like, I learned something new till this day. So I would definitely tell you, if you're not sure how to face your blocks, just yet, it's best to face them, and do a stopping point and look at them, take a section to see exactly if you can see until you get the hang of it. Especially with small, tiny tissue specimens, you definitely do not want to face too aggressively in the block or face to the point to where you lose tissue. It's just going to take practice and time. But once you keep doing it, you'll know that you're fully faced. And even sometimes, even if you're fully faced, that doesn't, take away from the fact that the pathologist may say, I want you to go deeper. It's just the fact that maybe we need to go deeper into the point of interest that they're looking for. So it doesn't mean that you didn't face it deep enough. It doesn't mean that you didn't go deep enough into the block. It's just the fact that the pathologist may need for you to go a little bit deeper to see exactly what they're looking for. But just for that full face, you definitely want to make sure that all aspects of the tissue through that wax is showing, and you can be able to see like a glossiness. So it's like a dullness on the wax, and then it's like a glossiness of the wax once you know that you're fully faced. So if you can visualize that, that's what I would definitely tell you to look for. If it's still dull, like paraffin dull, but once it gets like that glossiness to it, then you know that you have actually exposed the tissue. And once you're on the water bath, you'll see that you've actually exposed the tissue. But great question, Veronica. I really appreciate that question. Okay, and this isn't a micronomy concern. This is just a general comment. And Yadel said, I work at a lab and we also put our controls at the top of the slide. So that was from my video on how to cut controls like a pro. And probably when I filmed this video, I was not a pro. Okay. that's a little, major key insight. I was not a pro when I filmed that part, but it just lets you know that different labs put controls at different parts of the tissue. I think I got more aware whenever I started helping the immuno department, IHC, we call it IPOTS where I work at, but you want to leave that space between the top of the slide and a little bit space for the tissue and a little bit space for the control. It just depends on what machine that you're using, and I think that's how they determine where to put the control at. I have noticed by helping them though that sometimes if general histology is cutting, just say they get a request and they're doing their general histo on it and it has some IPOTS orders on it, then they'll go ahead and cut those IPOCs or their immunos for the immuno department. But sometimes they'll put it like in the middle of the slide, which we're used to doing in general histology, putting it in the middle of the slide. But sometimes you have to remember that we still need to put the control on the top of the slide. So you want to leave a little bit of room, either if we can't fit it, especially if the tissue is big, try to put the tissue actually like a little bit lower so we have enough room to put the control on the top. And also too, what I learned is, I wish I could demonstrate this, but I can't because I don't do a lot of cutting anymore. So for you guys who always ask me, hey, can you show me things? Can you show me things? It's kind of hard because I do not sit at the microtome as much as I used to in general histology. But if you can visualize this with me, whenever you are cutting a patient tissue and a patient control, what I did learn from where I work at now is you want to put the slide, right side down into the water for the patient tissue. And then just say if the control is going to be put on next or by the IHC department, then they're going to turn the tissue or turn the slide upside down. So that way that patient tissue is not going back into the water, but now you just turn it where the label goes and putting the control tissue at the top that way. So I guess that helps with contamination. So that was a good thing that I learned by doing the control blocks and cutting control slides. So I would consider myself a semi learner, not a pro, but now I'm telling you guys will be a pro. Welcome to the chat, everybody. I really appreciate you guys joining me. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Arasalam. I hope I'm saying your name right, but happy Saturday. Welcome to the chat, you guys. Okay, so I'm trying to see if there were any other. Let's see if there's any other histology troubleshooting. Okay, so Jocelyn, that was your question. That was your question that I just actually spoke about. When cutting, I noticed I get a lot of static with certain tissue. Just last week, I couldn't ribbon some cell blocks because the static was so bad. But all the other blocks I cut gave me no problems at all. I also noticed the same issue with breast cords, and those are typically thin, so it can be scary because I don't want to lose any tissue. Okay. So I guess I did answer, and I did say I actually answered the question, but let's go back to the cell block issue and the breast cords, because if you guys cut breast cords, they are extremely thin. They're fatty as well. Whenever you cut in the breast cords, I know we cut breast cords at 3 microns. So, and it's you don't want to just cut through that block because you want to get, first of all, the breast cords need to be embedded all at the same angle like any other block, but it's very, very important that those be embedded correctly. And as far as cutting, you definitely want to soak those breast cords like no other. What I try to do is, when it comes to breast cords and breast tissue, I don't like when a lot of water is soaked up in the block. So what I'll do is I'll give it a good soak, and then what I'll do is I'll take the actual block before I'm ready to put it in, or before I'm ready to cut it, and I'll actually place it down on not a Kim white, but is it a Kim white? Just say on the pad. I forgot those pads, but those white pads. But I'll actually just press the block down just to get some of the excess water out of it, and then I'll cut it, because I've noticed that whenever you leave breast tissue soaking for too long, then it just absorbs all that water, and then you don't get a good section. So that probably will also be the reason. So I would definitely tell you just to pat your block face down on the tissue, and you can use a Kim wipe, that's fine. You can just pat it down on the tissue, and then just like a good press, just taking that water out of it, and then start to cut it, because I've noticed that you get a great cut, or you'll get a great ribbon if you do it that way. Also too, when cutting breast cords, I always use a different part of the blade for each block, because I want a fresh blade for the breast cords. So that's another thing. Let's see here. Oh, and cell blocks. Also too, if you guys don't do this in your lab, keep a cold water bath to put your ribbon in, and then pick up your ribbon from a cold water bath. So just get a little dish and fill it up with some DI water. And then whenever you take your section, you can pick up your ribbon from that cold water bath, and then you'll take it and you'll dip it into your hot water bath. So that way, that's the best section that you're going to get. And whenever it comes to breast cords, or whenever it comes to cell blocks, especially cell blocks, I normally try to put the actual block, I'll put it in the hot water bath real quick, and then I'll put it on ice. It's just so many different techniques that you can do. There's so many different ways that you just have to figure out what way works best for you. And because, you may be in the lab and people have different ways of doing it, it's good that you're here, because we can tell you, okay, like this is what I may do. Another histotech can tell you, okay, this is what I've noticed that works. So I don't cut a lot of cell blocks, but when I did cut the cell blocks, I actually had to put them, especially FNAs, I had to actually put them in, like, just really quick, dropping in the hot water bath, take it out, put it on the ice, and then take my section, put it in a cold water bath for a few seconds, pick up my ribbon, and then put the ribbon in the hot water bath. Once again, I know it sounds like 3 to 4 different steps, but if you can visualize doing that, start having a cold, like a little small jar that you can put a ribbon in. And I'll try to take a picture of it whenever I get back to work, what I'm speaking of, because maybe you guys as histotechs actually have a cold water bath and then you put it into a hot water bath. And I don't do it that often, but now that I'm, doing brains and things of that nature, I actually have started to do that. But whenever I very first got into histology, I never used a cold water bath. And I just thought, like, hey, I don't need to use that, but actually I do, and it works perfectly. I don't use freeze spray anymore. I don't think anyone really uses freeze spray anymore, honestly. But as far as that cold water bath, I'm not sure if they are showing you guys that in school, but if you work in a lab that's, established, and there's older histotechs who's been doing it for years and years, they probably use a cold water bath first. So I would definitely tell you, especially for my new techs and my students who are watching me, or if you've been a histotech for years and you just never did this method, you can definitely try this out and give us your input as well, because it's good that we have this type of community so people can learn from us, and we can just exchange all the great advice. So that's a good thing. So Jocelyn, I hope that answered your question. Let's see here. Okay. And Little Bear, I did answer your question. It says, can you share me some tips to avoid having compression ribbon? I haven't had any nice ribbon since I started cutting at school. Keyword, school. So that I don't think I started cutting good until I actually got my first job. And that's not even cutting good. That was just like mediocre. And that's what we have to make sure we remember. That's the reason why I do this. That's the reason why I made this channel, because we have to remember it's school. When I was in school, I know I didn't get a good ribbon. Ribbon who? Ribbon where? Like, so do not feel bad if you're not getting a good ribbon, but you're going to get the nice ribbons when it actually matter. And that's when you're actually doing your slide for a real patient and that needs to go to the pathologist. And even some days you will not have a great ribbon. Trust me. And you guys should know that. And I know you guys, can agree, especially if you've been doing histology for, quite some time. So don't worry, Little Bear, you'll be fine and you'll get it. All right. So let's see here. I know, I feel so bad. It's okay. You're not even close saying my name. It's okay. I'm currently preparing myself to take the ASCP. Love your channel. Do you have a nickname at least? Like, I'm going to just call you S or AR. I don't know. At least if you have a nickname, I won't butcher your name. But I really appreciate you subscribing to my channel and watching my channel. You are a loyal one, because I always get questions from you, so I really appreciate your support, and I'm glad my channel is helping you throughout your journey. Okay, so you're currently preparing yourself for the ASCP. How is that going? Ari, that's boom, that's easy. Thank you, Ari. I can call you Ari. That's great. So Ari, how is studying for the ASCP going? Like, what do you find yourself stuck on? Is it going smoothly? Are you watching my ASCP tips on studying? Exactly, how is it going with studying? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be taking the ASCP this year. So kudos to you, because studying was probably well, I always say, between school and studying, when you're in school, focus on school, period. Not a job, not, I'm not saying you shouldn't, think about it, but school is school. Then ASCP is like literally that's exactly what you need to focus on, the ASCP, because you're going to get a job and people will hire you just based upon the fact that have you have your degree already in histotechnology in the program. And I read the Bible, Frida Carson, yes. But people you're going to get hired based upon you finish the program, and you're going to get hired based upon you taking the ASCP. So you'll get hired as a histotech, and then they'll give you a year to sit for the board. So I'm trying to tell you guys, like, a job won't be the issue. It's just, I need for you guys to know that you're going to get on the job training. No one's going to expect for you to come in the door and know how to cut and know how to embed. No one's going to expect for you to do that. But your goal is to make sure that you pass the ASCP. And the goal is to make sure that you do that, because that's what they're giving you the job based upon, that you're taking the ASCP. And you're not going to get fired if you don't pass the ASCP the first time or the second time. You have a whole year to study and actually get that on the job training. I'm trying to tell you guys, I stress this to you guys all the time. The fact that you can, and I work with people in several different labs, they're working as a histotech and haven't even taken the ASCP, and they're studying for the ASCP. This is real life. I see this every day. They're so lucky and you guys are so lucky, the avenue that you're having, that you can be able to do the work and see it visually, because I'm a visual person, and I'm not sure, how you guys learn, but I'm a visual person. So if I had the opportunity to visually do all these things, to unload a processor, to embed a block, to do, to file blocks, to send cases out, to cut a block, to do the H&E stainer, to do all these things and be in that environment. If I had that environment and went to school, I mean, that would have been such a big benefit for the ASCP for me. Such a big benefit. That's why I enjoyed my clinicals so much, because that was that on the job training, but it just sucked when it had to come to an end, and it sucked that it was free, that you didn't get paid, but it was definitely a benefit. So I always encourage you guys to, if that's you taking the ASCP, focus on studying, focus on Frida Carson, your mom, the Bible. You got it, Ari, the Bible. Let's see here. And I always come back to it for support, definitely. And I will try. I promise you guys the world. I know I do. I just try to make sure that I try to go back, because I have so many new followers. So thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. So I always try to refer you guys to my main videos that put me, on the map as far as like histology. But I will try to do updated versions, but you guys know I have so much, planned for you guys, and I have to come up with content. And so I just want to make sure that you guys refer back to those videos, because nothing has changed as far as like the study tips, the study advice that I would give you guys. Nothing has changed, because I want to make things as basic as possible, because in real life, shit is hectic. So I hope I can master making that more relatable with these videos. So that's my goal. Okay, so let's see if we can find some comments. I think I had a comment about travel histology. And for those of my new supporters, if you guys are new to the community, I was a travel histologist. I always suggest travel histology. One, because I meet people I work with people all the time who been doing histology for just say 10 years plus, and they're, bored with it, or they don't have any motivation anymore, or they barely want to work, or it just becomes repetitive and redundant, and they not saying they've lost the drive and the focus or the love for histology, but just like any job, like that can happen. I get it. That especially when you're doing the same things every day and you want to change. So I always say his travel histology would definitely be the right change. So I'm thinking, let me see if I can find that comment about travel histology. One moment. Okay, so travel histology. Let's talk about travel histology. I also have a few videos dedicated to travel histology, and I may need to retitle my one video that I got. It's a California apartment tour. That California apartment tour is based upon how my travel apartment looked. So whenever I made that video, I think it was my second round coming back to California for traveling. So I really didn't title that video well. It may just look like, just a regular California apartment tour, but that is a travel histology apartment. It just shows like the space I had, the fact that you can live rent free. It shows like the type of furniture that Court Furniture or whoever that the travel company provides furniture through. It just shows you that, what you'll get as a travel histologist. It comes with a bed, a couch, a TV. They provide like everything for you when it comes to your travel assignment. And I also have a few lives on my channel titled Jobs, which means they provide travel jobs as well as permanent jobs. So you guys definitely check out that or those videos that may accommodate you, or if you have any questions on why you should choose travel histology. All right, so for this question here, let me go to the comment. So Tahira, good morning. I'm currently a first-time travel histology technician, so this is my first time filing taxes as well. Taxes as a traveler. How did you file your taxes as a traveler? Did you use one of those travel tax companies? Thank you so much for all that you do. Looking forward to your response. Okay. So that was on my video, how to make gum, track scent. So once again, it doesn't matter what video you put a comment on, boom, I'm going to answer it. So as far as taxes was concerned, what I explained to Tahira was, as far as taxes, filing my taxes was pretty much simple because I only had one W-2, which was the travel W-2. So, okay. So, which is a travel W-2, the travel company W-2. So your travel company will submit you a W-2 just like your regular job would. And the difference with traveling and taxes is the fact that as a traveler, you get tax-free money. So you'll have a base pay, which just say, for example, your base pay will be $25 an hour base, but your tax-free money will be, just say, for example, $400 a week. That includes your gas, your food, anything. It's just free money. Just say, for instance, if you was a flight attendant, that's the type of comparison I always use. But even for travel nurses, they get per diem as well. So you get taxed on your base pay, but then the rest of the money is tax-free money. So that's not even claimed as far as your taxes. So you need to make sure that you put a tax home state. And in our comment together, in my comment to her, I did ask her, did she have a tax state home? And she said yes. So as long as you have a tax state home, then that's what I guess they'll base your actual taxes based upon. So my tax state home at that time was Florida. So whenever I would travel, my tax home will be Florida. So I'm assuming that they tax me based upon whatever Florida taxes was. So you definitely, doing your taxes will be the same. You're only going to get taxed on your base pay. You technically make more. So if you was to take your base pay and literally all the tax-free money that they give you, you technically make more. So your gross for the year may only say $34,000 a year, right? Because they're basing it upon your base pay. That's what they're taxing you on. But in all actuality, all that tax-free money that you're getting, your base pay could have literally been $60,000. So it just depends on how much you're getting taxed for that. Now, just say for instance, if California was my base pay, or if California was my tax home, California taxes are hella high, so it wouldn't have been the smartest, number one, but I just would have gotten taxed more. So that's how the taxes go. So there's no difference with your W-2. You're only getting taxed upon whatever your base pay is. I personally like the fact that they give you tax-free money. There's some pros and cons of that, because one, the less money that you get on a base pay rate, the more money that you may get for the tax-free money, which is money based upon your cost of living. So if you're living in, just say for instance, if you're living in Wyoming, and cost of living probably is not as high. Well, I don't know what the cost of living is in Wyoming, but if you're living in Wyoming and just say the cost of living is pretty decent, then they're going to give you, or just say the cost of living is low, they're not going to give you a lot of free money, because they're looking at like, oh, you really don't need that much because the cost of living is not really that much. So they may pay you a higher base pay and not give you a higher amount of weekly stipend. So your weekly stipend could be $250 a week and your base pay could be $30 an hour. But just say if you're living somewhere like in New York, they know cost of living is higher. So they'll give you a lower base pay. They may give you $22 an hour, but they may give you $400 a week in free money added on to your base pay. So it really depends on the type of contract that you guys sign up for whenever you're signing whenever you're doing your contract for traveling. It's just so many different ways that you can look at these things. All right, let's look at the chat real quick, because I would definitely want to get to you guys' questions. We're going in almost an hour. It don't even feel like it. Okay, so let me look at some of your questions here. Make sure you guys are liking the live whenever you guys are coming in, please, and thank you. And thank you so much, you guys, off topic, for all the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. Okay, so Elizabeth, let's see what you're saying. Okay, so Ari, I just took mine on the 20th of last month, studied the entire Carson book from the front to back, and if you have the Carson workbook, congratulations, Elizabeth. You probably told me that you took it, and I probably told you congratulations, but I'll tell you again publicly, congratulations. How was it? Was it hard? Which is a stupid question. Hell yeah, it was hard. Yeah, definitely study the entire Carson book from front to back. Okay. So are you in Florida? You need a license where I'm at in Miami. I took the test November 2020. Then COVID came and it kept me working. I did not study till last year. Yeah, in Florida, you need that state license and you need the ASCP. I'm currently phlebotomy and working at a hospital. Yeah, COVID definitely stopped a lot of things. And in Florida, you need that state license and you need the ASCP. So that's the difference. But in Florida, you're automatically a HTL. So I'm pretty sure you know that already. Already in Florida, you already HTL. Let's see here. So good luck with everything. Definitely study your book, and like she said, from front to back. And Ari, I'm not sure if you noticed, and I say this in my videos too. Whenever you're studying, I'm not sure if you already took your I'm not sure if you already signed up for your test, but what I would definitely suggest, and what I always suggest in my videos. So just say for instance, you want to take your test June the 1st, right? I would tell you to at least, if that's your date in your mind, that's great. I would tell you to at least get halfway through your book and then schedule your test for June 1st. Don't schedule your test for June 1st and then have to sit up here and work full time. You know, you're working, you have your personal life. You want to make sure you have enough dedicated time to study and not like just go into overdrive to where you study so much and you're tired, and which is still going to happen. But you want to allow yourself some time and some breathing room just for anything else that may come up. So if you want to take your test, just say June 1st, I would definitely suggest. But some people like doing it under pressure. I mean, it's whatever works best for you. But if your test is June 1st, I would tell you, okay, so today is April 2nd. I would tell you to at least get to maybe special stains in your book and then go ahead and schedule it for June 1st. Like get to special stains. And then if it's like, just say if it's the end of April and you've gotten the special stains, be like, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and schedule for June 1st. Because what that does is that allows you that time between the end of April up until June 1st to finish studying just the rest of the book. Not you having to like, oh my God, I got like 35 days and I need to finish a whole Frida Carson book. That just allows you to at least, you have June 1st as your test date, but you've already had special stains. So you can really pace yourself, especially for special stains, which is like a huge component on the ASCP. And then you'll have the rest of May to literally like, okay, let me go back and just freshen up and catch up on fixation. Or maybe I want to spend a little bit more time on special stains because I'm okay with, fixation. Or maybe let me go back to fixation, or let me go back to process, and let me go back to troubleshooting. The book is so in depth to where you don't want to have to remember every single thing in that little time frame that you got. So at least get halfway through your book, feel comfortable, schedule a test, finish studying, and then go back and just do like a recap up until the time you actually have to schedule your test. That's what I always suggest. Do you have to drive in order to be a travel histotech? It depends, Elizabeth. It really depends. So let me just go ahead and put... This is the last of the stream. So this is actually great because this ties into the last of the stream: work, school, pay. This general question. So I'm glad you guys are asking these questions. So let's go ahead and get to that. Okay, so do you have to drive in order to be a histotech? Okay. Well, it's a two-part question or a two-part answer to that, Elizabeth. The first thing is you don't have to drive unless you want to. So what state are you in? I'll probably always ask you this whenever you are joining the live, but I don't want to assume. So if you're looking for a travel assignment first tell me what state you're in. And then I can give you a more personalized answer. Okay. You're in New York. And for instance, Elizabeth, what city or state are you probably wanting to travel to? Like if you've looked at Indeed or different travel companies that I put on my previous videos, like is there a city or a state that you probably are interested in traveling to and you just need, a more one-on-one question? Because the great thing about travel is there's so many different states and cities and states that you guys can go to, and these recruiters are like, remember I told you guys they're like car salesmen. As soon as you put your information in, to their website to talk about traveling, they're going to hit you back so fast it's not even funny. Next thing you know, you'll be filling out all your information, doing an interview, and then you'll be ready for a contract within the next like few weeks. And in my video, the pros of traveling, I did let you guys know that it's a good thing because you can travel for a little bit and then come back to your home, and then you can take another assignment within the next like whatever, weeks. Take as much time as you want off, and then you can go right back to, another assignment. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and show you a comment. I know Ari, she's been so helpful. That's cool. I'm glad you guys are like conversing, because that's what we need in this type of live. Like we definitely need to help each other out. Okay. So as far as you, Elizabeth, I was just thinking about traveling anywhere but sunny Florida would be nice. Okay. Let me tell you something. Florida, I'm gonna give you a little I'm gonna give you some tea. I'm gonna give you some tea. Florida knows that everyone wants to come to Florida. Everybody wants to be in Florida, especially when it's the winter time, because they know it's sunny and that's a good place to travel to. So the thing about Florida is if you was to actually work in Florida full time, Florida, as far as like a student, Florida have this thing to where it's like they're paying more now. But I remember when I was in school, I think how they're set up is effective. Like, okay, we produce so many Histotechs because we have like 2 schools, and we have online schools in Florida. But my school that I went to, which is in South Florida, and Ari may know this one, and it's Kaiser University. Ari, which school did you attend? Did you attend Kaiser? But they produce so many Histotechs, and me living in Cali produced Histotechs as well. But we're talking about like Florida, I think was like the one who actually like produced like the most Histotechs in the state of Florida. So we were literally like, you literally have to like fight for a position, because when you go to these clinical sites and you have like 6 to 7 students, they actually have the upper hand because everyone needs a job and we need to work there. So that's number one. So they can tell you, okay, you're straight out of school, I'm going to pay you $17, because we know that we can get a student and pay them $17 an hour to work here, because that's how bad you guys are all fighting for this one position, because you're students and you really want to get your career started. That's what I personally do not like about Florida, because it's like they know if there's 20 students, we're all competing for those same jobs in that same city, which is Orlando, or which is in southern Florida, and we're all competing for these same jobs. Whereas to here, it's such a huge state, New York, such a huge state, to where it's like it's probably so many different hospitals. But in Florida, there's not that many. There's hospitals, but when you live in Orlando, or when you live in, there's like only like a few within a certain radius, to where it's like everyone's trying to work at that lab. Everyone's trying to work at that histology lab. And if you live in Orlando, you don't want to drive all the way to like Tampa for a job, but it's just, you're trying to get that job right there in your city, and there's so much competition. So, Elizabeth, I do know. Okay, you jogging my memory. Yep, you're jogging my memory, because I'm like so off the subject. I'm thinking will you tell me about how they will only give you like 5 blocks a day or something like that? Let me know. Jog my memory. If not, it's the wine. But okay, so let me get back to the main thing, because I can go off topic really quick, because I missed you guys. I missed these lives. Okay, so as far as Florida, so the first thing is, you already have your own place in New York, right? So you got your place to live, you're settled. You do not have to drive. Yep, just placenta and autopsy. Okay, you see? I know you guys. See, like, you guys are my family here. You guys are very dedicated. Okay, so just say, for instance, you want to take an assignment in Florida as a traveler. You live in New York. You do not have to give up your place in New York. You don't have to drive to Florida. You don't have to do none of that. Number one, you will need a Florida clinical license. So that's the first thing you would need to do to get started to work in Florida. You need a Florida license. So you definitely need to get that, which will be easy to get. And if you do it through a travel company, guess what? The travel company is going to set everything up for you. You don't have to take another test or nothing like that. The travel company will set everything up for you to get you licensed in Florida, just like they did for me in Nevada. But you will need to get a Florida license. So you'll pay the money for the Florida license, and then submit your information, just like, because you will need a New York license. So it's the same thing as Florida and Nevada. That's the first thing. They'll get that taken care of for you. And the second thing is, if you are traveling to Florida for a histology job, just say your contract is for 3 months, I would definitely tell you that, she said Florida, she says she's like a sunny state. I know, right? I would definitely tell you that it would be very smart, because it's your first time actually being in Florida and probably living in Florida and working in Florida. Allow the travel company to find your housing. That's the second thing. So they find your housing, so you don't have to worry about rent. You don't have to worry about getting an apartment. You don't have to do none of that, because they're going to put you in a house. They're going to put you in an apartment, probably where other travelers stay or nurses stay. That's normally what they do. And regular other people stay there too, but it's more like probably they have a contract with that apartment complex. So that you're not going to go wrong there. I'm not going to put you anywhere that's not safe. Okay. That's only if you're in California or New York. I don't know. But you're going to be good. And then the second thing is, or the third thing is, you want to make sure that, if you're going to need a rental car or something like that, then that's going to come out of your stipend as well. So they'll add rental to your thing. So they'll pay your rental car every month. But you have to understand, if they give you a pay package and it includes like one total amount that you're going to get every 2 weeks, things start to subtract from that. But once again, you have to think of like, if you don't like it, if you don't like traveling, or you may go with another company that offers a better travel, the only way you're going to really know what works best for you is if you actually do your very first assignment. You actually have to step out and do your very first assignment. So, And then you may go to a second assignment and be like, hey, you know what? I actually know someone in Florida, or I have a cousin in Florida, or I have a friend in Florida. I don't want the apartment. So guess what? That's extra money that you get on your check that they don't have to provide you for housing, because you're providing your own housing, and you may pay your friend, cousin, girlfriend, boyfriend, I don't know, a roommate, Craigslist, whatever you decide. You can work out a deal and pay them rent, whatever you're going to do, and you don't have to take the housing, but the housing is there, and they provide an actual stipend for that housing. So if just say for instance they give you $1,800 for housing, and you find someone that would, hey, you can rent out this room for the next 3 months and you only have to pay me $800. That's a whole $1,000 that you have pocketed on your check. You have a lot of options, but the only way you're going to get those options is if you take your first assignment and you actually talk to the recruiter, but you don't have to move. And then once your assignment is over, you can either renew your assignment and stay for another duration if that's what the lab needs of you. That if they like your work, or if they say, hey, you know what, you've been here for 2 assignments already and we love your work, we love you, would you mind staying? Would you consider moving from New York to Florida and come permanent with us? Then that's a bonus. That's a plus. You're like, hell yeah, I'm not going back to cold ass New York. I'm coming to the sunshine state, right, Ari? But yeah, so it's so many different options you can do, or your assignment can be over and you can be like, hey, it's been nice. Thank you so much for this assignment. And you can go ahead and go back to New York. And then guess what? You talk to your travel company and they'd be like, okay, these are the other cities we got next. You're going to Louisiana, you're going to Texas, you're going to go to Michigan. It just depends on where you want to go and what's available, and you can do that assignment and you can finish that assignment. And if you want to stay, they have options for you to stay, you can stay. But if they don't need your help anymore because they've hired someone permanent, then that's fine too. You can go back to New York, but you don't have to give up your residence in New York. But if you wanted to drive from New York to Florida, that's another smart thing, because you take your car, do your road trip, go down to Florida, take your car, and that way, guess what? You have your car at your apartment, and that's your car. You don't have to worry about no rental, turning in anything that's going to stress you out by accidents or whatever the case may be. Yeah, you could take your own car and drive it to Florida, because that's literally like down the East Coast, so you should be fine. I drove my car from Florida over to California, did a whole road trip. So I brought my car with me. I did not want to rent a car, because I knew I wasn't going to make my way back over to Florida anytime soon. So I stayed over on the West Coast. So that's just a little advice. I can really go into depth, but I'm glad you asked that. And I hope that helps anyone else who's thinking about traveling. Let me see what Ari is talking about. You guys definitely listen. These are some good questions and tips for you guys. I really appreciate you guys joining the live. Yeah, good luck, Ari. Let me see, Ari, I think you was talking about, let me go back up to Ari's question. If you guys are just joining the chat, thank you so much for joining the chat. If you are watching me on the replay, I appreciate it. Make sure you thumbs up the live, show YouTube that, you're enjoying the content and it's informative. Okay, so let me see what you're saying, Elizabeth, about the, Okay, so Ari says, Elizabeth, I don't have the workbooks, but sometimes I have seen them online. Do you suggest anything I could do different? Elizabeth says, yeah, I didn't have the workbook either, but a coworker was nice enough to take pictures of the questions and answers from each section for me. Dang, Elizabeth, that's good. Yeah, you could definitely borrow the workbook from someone. Sometimes your lab can probably have an extra book that you can take home. I've seen people at my job take home the book or look at the book while at work and then just return it back to the office. That's definitely a good option for you, because those books are expensive. Yeah, she's very lucky for that. Those books are expensive. Oh yeah. Okay. So Elizabeth and Ari, this is true. So Elizabeth says she did Lab CE and the BLC study guide book, but mostly reviewed the Carson book. The Carson book was very helpful. Okay. And that's the thing about Lab CE. Whenever I was renewing my certifications, the Lab CE was amazing. I was sleeping on Lab CE. I don't remember how much was Lab CE. I can't remember, but I did do a video dedicated to Lab CE. Let me see if I can find that video. Hold on. All right, let's see here. Because I use Lab CE to renew my CEUs, my continuing education credits. You guys, it was the best. It was actually fun using Lab CE, honestly, because they actually had like general histology questions, like questions I haven't seen in a long time. This is it right here. I did this video. Let me see. Let's look at it real quick. Let's skip this. This is what Lab CE looks like. Ari. Let's see if I can. Okay. So I've used the ASCP website before and it was so complicated. But that's you still need to update your lab or update ASCP with your Lab CE stuff, but this is the website right here. So if you go to my video, how to renew your histology license using Lab CE. So that's it. So it has all of your courses on there. And I mean, it was just a fun opportunity. So go watch that video. It was actually really fun. So go watch that video because Lab CE was very, very helpful. I mean, it felt like taking the ASCP, honestly. That's how helpful it was. But she's right, the Carson book, that's really the bread and butter. That's what you need. All right, so Elizabeth said, I actually thought I failed because it was asking me questions on enzyme histochemistry and IHC, so it was getting harder, but I passed, thank God. Yep. Major key, if you see that the test is getting harder, that means that you're actually doing good on the test. So backwards, so weird, but that's the truth. And you guys know I actually do enzyme histochemistry. The day in the life, if you look at those videos, that's actually what I do whenever I'm doing my muscle biopsies. We do enzyme histochemistry on muscles. And the fact that you actually was passing that and you never probably even did enzyme histochemistry before, go Elizabeth. Whenever I took my ASCP, I'm HT, so I probably didn't get any HTL questions like enzyme histochemistry or anything like that. But it's kind of funny because fast forward in my life, I'm actually doing enzyme histochemistry, and I do that on a daily. And I never would imagine me doing enzyme histochemistry, and that's why I show you guys behind the scenes, because enzyme histochemistry is done with the muscle specimens and the muscle biopsies that I actually do currently. And when I was working in histology, I never got access to enzyme histochemistry. So fast forward, looking at my career now, it's like, damn, like I'm doing enzyme histochemistry. So like I said before, like once I have the dedicated time to show you guys, I actually recorded a little bit yesterday. I was doing enzyme histochemistry. The ones that we do, which is co-SDH, phosphorylase, acid phosphatase, esterase, and NADH. Those are the 5 enzyme histochemistry stains that we do for muscle specimens, frozen muscle biopsies. So once I get that dedicated time, I try to make sure that in my day in the lives, I show you guys, okay, this is what we do for these muscle specimens. And then also we do immunos for the brain, paraffin brains. But the enzyme histochemistry is definitely something that if whoever I teach this next, they're so lucky, because it took me almost a year to really get this down packed. It's no joke. Doing it in real life and just reading about it, the fact that you can just study it and actually try to remember it for a test, kudos to you guys. Doing it in real life, doing everything. You guys see me pHing these enzyme histochemistry stains. You guys see me mixing everything. You have to pH it. You have to make the solutions by scratch, pH it, make sure things stain appropriately. It is, and also I have to cut it, the frozen muscle. So kudos to me for learning all this shit because it is not easy, y'all. Yeah, good luck, Ari, with everything. You got this. You're gonna pass. Yeah, definitely good luck. And congratulations again, Elizabeth. Let's see here. Let me see. Yep, some good advice. I really appreciate it. Elizabeth said, I just started working as per diem employee, so I'm trying to build my experience. Yeah, before you actually start traveling, I would definitely suggest you get some experience. You want to get some type of experience. You want to have that confidence. I waited a year before I started traveling. I just knew it was the right time. It was the right time for so many different reasons, but I actually ran a derm lab, ran it by myself, and then co-ran it with my friend. So I was like, if I can actually do this small derm lab where we get like 100 specimens a day, I had to send things out. I had to embed everything. I had to do the processor. I had to clean the processor. I had to file the blocks. I had to do so many things. We had one lab aide, and then we had my friend who actually now she was a travel histotech, but now she's permanent in Florida. And I mean, it was just like literally like it was just like, I'm thinking to myself, if I can keep this lab afloat by myself, you guys have no idea. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, but doing muscle enzymes and doing neuropath literally is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life so far in my career. And I've ran a derm lab. I've done Mo's, I've done Frozens, I've traveled, for 2 years. It's like, but learning histochemistry and learning brains and just the daily work that it takes in doing these enzymes had to be the toughest part of my life. And I haven't done a video just yet because I wanted to make sure that I was comfortable in what I was doing and comfortable in what I was saying. And because during this time last year is when I was truly learning everything and I was in the heart of everything. So now it's been a year since I've been in neuropath. So now we can get more neuropath videos. I'm giving you guys more behind the scenes. I'm giving you guys as much as I can because I don't want to compromise patient care and I don't want to compromise, anything like that. So I try to give you guys as much as behind the scenes. I don't get to give you guys a lot of histology behind the scenes. That's why I'm glad that I built this platform first on histology. So for all the new people who are finding me, you guys can see how I progressed from histology into neuropath. And you guys got that, that foundation for histology on my channel. So for the new people who are finding my channel, for the new students, for even histologists who have been histologists for years, you guys see the foundation is for histology students. But now that I'm in neuropath, I'm definitely trying to take you guys along and get you into that, my world now, while still being relatable as far as like histology. And I can still relate to histology, but it won't be a lot of histology things that I can show you guys. But if you check out my playlist platform. You guys continuously tell me that you are binge watching my videos. Is very helpful. So that's why I made sure that I created this platform and that foundation for you guys. All right, let's see here. Okay, Elizabeth said that's the thing. I'm not an experienced driver and afraid to drive alone. So that's why I'm asking. Okay, Elizabeth, guess what? You don't have to be an experienced driver. You can fly to your assignment. And like I said, just rent a car for that duration of your assignment. Even if you fly, I think you could probably A, get that money back, or B, they can pay for your plane ticket, because they have travel reimbursement. So between each assignment, first of all, they pay you travel reimbursement. So just say you're going to fly or drive from New York to Florida. They give you a stipend for that alone. It's called travel reimbursement. So they may give you $800 to cover your plane ticket. There's so many great opportunities, you guys. So many great opportunities. So much you can learn by going to different labs, and that can help to shape and mold you. The goal is to make sure that you be the best histotech that you can be. That's what I try to make sure that I brand my channel in doing, because I come up against a lot of histotechs and a lot of people who are in competition with each other, who are intimidated by you, who want to, be you, who want to, who think they know everything and they can't make a mistake. So many different personalities in the lab. So the goal is to make sure that you become the best histotech that you can possibly be, and you hold your head up high and you be confident in what you do, because this is an everyday learning experience. So yeah, if you want to take your pet, your spouse, your family member with you for your 3 months, you can bring them. That's definitely not out of the question. You can bring anyone you want to bring. Which is a great thing. You don't own a car, you can fly. Yeah, you don't need a car. You're in New York. You're welcome. I could send to you what she sent me, or if you like. It was through WhatsApp. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, I love you guys. That's what's up. That's what I'm talking about. Helping each other. I had to pay $69 at the discount from my school. Oh, let's see here. Oh, wow. I didn't know that you could do CEUs through Lab CE. Yep. Once you do your CEUs, go check out that video. Once you sign up through Lab CE, you click check out that video, because I tell you what to choose to choose your classes. And then once you choose, they literally have a histology section or whatever. And then once you renewing your ASCP or renewing your CEUs, once you choose that, it's like all these different categories. As long as once you do those things, and then you just literally go through the ASCP. Oh, and this is a great thing for you, Ari. Lab CE automatically sends it over to the Florida one, which is what's the Florida one for? Not, it's not Lab CE. It's I forgot. I had to figure it out. Who your Florida one is through, but it'll automatically update it to your Florida license for you. So if you go through Lab CE, Ari, since you're already in Florida, once you get your histology, once you're board certified and you need to renew your license, you can go through once you go through Lab CE, they automatically update those credits to your Florida license. And I'm trying to remember what the Florida license is off the top of my head, but I'm not really sure, but I'll have it. I'll post it in the community tab. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the different pHs from ATPAS in case they asked on them. Yep. Some of them 7.5. I don't even remember, honestly, because we have like a little recipe card, which I'll be showing sometimes in my video, which is behind the scenes. But everything literally is a recipe card. Nothing I do by memory. Nothing. I have to actually like look at the protocol, because that's how intense it is. Yeah, it does sound like it is a lot of work. Okay, Elizabeth said, thank you. I'm the one who was trying to explain to you that I had to sit for the same ASCP exam again to get my certification after I got 1 year experience. Yep, I remember exactly who you are. It's just some things I had to, you had to jog my memory. But yeah, Elizabeth, I know exactly who you are. And if you think about traveling, definitely look at some of my traveling videos. You can always reach out to me about a travel company, which one I probably suggest to you. You know, I'm here to answer your questions and help you out. That's what I'm trying to do, get experience. I might be per diem, but at least I get the experience. I kind of like just 1 day a week. Yeah. I want 1 day a week. Listen, if you're per diem, you'll like traveling then, because you can literally work, just say your few months or whatever, and then take as much time off as you want to between assignments. Okay, Ari said Lab C. Okay, I'll check them out. And then Ari said I will watch it. Cool. I hope this Q&A really helped you guys. I really appreciate everything that you guys have asked, because these are good questions, and that's the reason why I did this Q&A. This is the reason why. So as far as, we're going to schedule another Q&A. So it'll probably be, I want to say, it's already April, so I want to say in May, because my goal is to attend CSH, which is the California Society of Histotechnology. That's my goal, is to attend the CSH this year. But for you guys who have not been to your first conference, I know it's kind of shaky because of, you know, everything that's going on with the world. But I just definitely want to tell you, sometime in your career, definitely try to attend these conferences once, twice, or, you know, every year if you want to, or just to be in that environment. It's really beneficial for your career, as well as, you know, it's just beneficial because it's a lot of things that you can take away from, you know, from attending these conferences. There are different rates as far as like if you are a member, as far as like classes may be discounted if you're a member. Check also too with your lab, because they may be doing reimbursement for things. I just learned that there's like a $2,000 reimbursement that doesn't pay for my plane or nothing, my plane ticket or anything like that, but it does help with, I think, the courses. So real quick before I go, some of the courses I'm just going to read off to you for CSH, and you can go to, I think it's csh.org to look at the courses, but just some things that may help you out, which is ASCP preparation workshop. If you guys are looking to take a course like that, once again, Lab CE is great if you cannot make the workshop. But these are just the type of things that are beneficial and that will help you guys out if you can attend CSH. The ASCP preparation workshop. Another class is creating and building a strong team, level 1. Electron microscopy for beginners, which is EM. What is MOS? What is the relationship to histopathology? Histotech shortages, macro trends to opportunity. So there's different courses, how to, you know, pass CAP, which is CAP. Mentorship, a passion or necessity. Level 1. So there are different things that may interest you. You could take these courses, but there's just, you know, a lot of good learning. There's workshops, there's games, there's food, and I think it'd be really fun to attend, just to be back in that element again, and just to meet some fellow peers, to grow your career. And that's what we're all about doing here. And that's what, you know, we want to be the best, right? We want to be the best. So thank you so much for you guys attending. We're at 1:31. I need to go ahead and get off the live because I need to do a few more videos for you guys, and and get that out to you guys. So make sure you guys check out my community tab. I always post current things on my community tab. And that way you guys will know when a video drops or when a live is going to drop. And I really appreciate you guys for joining the gang, for joining my live. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed, and make sure to thumbs up this live if you are just now coming to the live, or if you are watching it on the replay. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope to see you guys in my next video, and I hope to see you guys in my next live. Until then, I'll see you guys in the lab. Bye.